Got to tell you guys, there were a few things more exciting than this slate today. Very few things. Ready to rock and roll. Mike Randle here, FTN. College basketball, biggest slate of the year, 152 games. We're not wasting any time. We're jumping right into it today. Couple things before we begin. You know the deal. Give us a like, subscribe here. All the great stuff going on here at FTN. Frank Frank's models are cooking. They're ready to go today. Mike Kutry, Walt Waddell, Matt Joe says everybody's in the tracker. You got to come aboard here because college basketball is taking over. It's a movement. It is written. It is time for college basketball to get rocking and rolling. And there is nothing better than joining us right now. And of course, don't forget, promo code MONEY, M-O-N-E-Y, promo code MONEY. We need it because of Better. You want to use it because of Better because they are going to double your initial deposit. You put in $100, they give you $200. You put in $200, they give you $400, up to a $500 match. It's not in all the states, but if it's there, you have a huge advantage. Use that promo code MONEY. Trust me, you will not forget it. We got people in the chat. I want to get to the games right away. Busy morning. I got up early this morning. I went to bed late last night, watching some games. Cal with the great comeback. We got the push on that one. The show was scalding hot the other day. We're getting right into it. I don't want to waste any time. I will get to your comments here, I promise. But I want to get to the games so we can get some discussion going because you are the reason that we're here. Here we go, folks. I'm caffeinated. Can you tell? Let's go. Holy Cross is not good. Holy Cross is not good. I don't like them here. They have not been good all season. They have struggled. Their metrics are absolutely awful. And the most brilliant thing is they actually won away at Lehigh. So one of their few wins was away at Lehigh by 3 in overtime. This is a Holy Cross team that does not force turnovers. Their metrics aren't great. They shoot 66% from the free throw line. And you know the theme that we're talking about here. Teams that lose the first game and then match up the second game, we're going to go the other way. Now, this game is on the road, so we prefer Lehigh to be home. But either way, we are laying the points here. I am taking Lehigh to get revenge on the road here against a Holy Cross team that beat them already. How about that one to kick us off here on a Saturday morning? Gotta love it. Fantastic. Here we go. I'm fading Mike White. I don't like Florida either. But Florida has been very explosive. This is a rivalry game. I get it, but I just don't think Georgia's offense is good enough to match up with Florida here. That's the issue. Florida has beaten Arkansas, Missouri, and Mississippi State. They just beat a good Mississippi State team at home, and they beat them by 9. They hung 79. They went away to Missouri, who's fine, but you won on the road in the SEC. You win by 12. That's good. They are holding opponents to under 30% from three-point range. They are great on the offensive boards. Now, Florida does have Kentucky coming up. I get that. That's a bit of a payback spot. But Georgia has Alabama coming up at home. So both teams have good matchups coming up here. Georgia just got a win at home over LSU, but no cover. They got blitzed by Kentucky. They got blitzed by Tennessee. They won away at South Carolina, which was impressive. I know this is a lot of points, but I am laying the points here. It's a little bit of my Mike White bias, but it's also the fact that Florida's offense is really explosive. Mike White, revenge game, going back. You know, Florida's going to be fired up here. I like Florida. I'm laying the points. This number is getting very high. I just don't think you can replicate what Houston does. Houston's defense is just incredible, and they cannot be lazy in this game because they have goals. They want to get a 1 seed again. They want to make the Final Four. They're frustrated about last year, all that stuff. They lost their first 2 games in conference away at Iowa State and TCU. They beat Texas Tech at home by 23. They beat UCF at home by 15. They were up a ton in that game. Remember, UCF with the backdoor cover, steal with 20 seconds. That's very frustrating. And then BYU away, which is a tough place to play. They got that win. Their defense is incredible. They're great at home. They jump on you early. This is Kansas State. Jerome Tang coming off the Iowa State game where he accused people of videotaping his huddle. He was yelling at Otzelberger. Little nuts there. Don't trust this Kansas State team, especially on the road. I am not a fan, as you know, of Arthur Kaluma, who I thought peaked in the Big East tournament 2 years ago. He's critical to everything they do. I think Houston at home is just a different animal. That's what it is. And so I like Houston to win. I don't like Kansas State to win. Could Houston win by 10? Sure. I think they're going to cover this number, though. It's getting high. If it's getting up to 16, 16 and a half, you may want to hold off, but I'm laying it there. I think Northeastern stinks. I told you that. We got to the window, no problem. And in fact, people have asked me about reverse line movement. That's sprinkles on the Sunday. You never make a pick or don't make a pick because of reverse line movement. UNC Wilmington, it was -3.5. I put it in our Discord, which is why I got to get the Discord right away because we get those numbers. In this case, it moved the other way. it actually dropped to 2.5. Even though the majority of bets were on UNC Wilmington, there's some reverse line movement, which meant there were some big bets, big money coming in on the other side. I don't care. Northeastern isn't good. They had played well at home, but I thought UNC Wilmington was good enough. In this case, I think that was a big matchup, and they really struggled. I'll take the 8.5 with William and Mary because I just don't trust this offense of Northeastern. It's even at home because they're very up and down. Their defense isn't good. They're not defending the arc well. They're not shooting well from three-point range, so they have to generate a lot of turnovers. And William and Mary under Dane Fisher, they've had a tough run. They've lost 4 games, but at home, they played a good Stony Brook team. They lost by 4. Campbell at home got up early, pushed the pace, got away from them. Away, North Carolina A&T, game was close, lost at the end. Hofstra away, not easy, heck of a lot better team than Northeastern, lost by 9. So I think they can keep this one close. If they can go away to Hofstra and lose by 9, I think they can cover 8.5 here, William and Mary. Enough with Virginia. Listen, Virginia is just not the same team. I've bet them a couple times, and they've really frustrated me. They are just not the same team that they've been in the past because their offense, they just can't score. They have beat Virginia Tech at home by 8. That was a close game. They went away and covered against Georgia Tech. That one we like because we don't like Georgia Tech that much. Stoudemire, first year of the whole thing. NC State at home, that game was very close. They ended up winning by 6. They played Louisville. They beat Louisville away by 24. This is now a revenge spot. Louisville has actually been competing, believe it or not. Louisville was competitive with North Carolina. Louisville was actually competitive with Duke the other day. Louisville is actually showing up. I don't think Virginia's offense can win by double digits on the road. I don't. And if Virginia gets going, congratulations. But what's their offense? Reese Beekman, who lets the game come to him. Ryan Dunn, who I keep hearing about how he's a lottery pick, but the guy can't put 15 points up and grab 10 boards against inferior opponents. I don't buy it. A lot of points. I'm taking Louisville. I know it's nuts. Not one of my favorite picks, but I just don't trust Virginia on the road to win by this many. I just don't. So this is a revenge spot here. Louisville is home. Virginia, next game up. Yeah, they have Notre Dame, Clemson, Miami. So there's some tough games coming up, Clemson, Miami. It's fine. I'm taking it, going that direction. I don't know if Gary's going to play. Juwan Gary avoided serious injury last Wednesday. It was just a calf strain. He said he heard a pop. If he plays, I love this line. Even if he doesn't play, I'll take Nebraska +5 because they really need this game. Nebraska, after their start, wants to make the NCAA tournament, and they better get going here because they have lost Nebraska. It's been frustrating. They were off to such a fantastic start, and then everything sort of fell apart there with them. Nebraska was looking really strong, and they're great at home. I get that. But they're 5-4 now in the Big Ten. They lost to Wisconsin, Iowa, Rutgers. They got a win over Northwestern at home. They got a good one over Ohio State, and those were without Gary. So without Gary, they won 2 games at home. The question is, can they go on the road and win? That's been the struggle. They should have won at Rutgers, but Gary got hurt. He went out of the game. They lost in overtime. I don't trust Maryland here. I know Maryland can be king of the little people. Maryland's got Michigan State away coming up. A lot of points. I'll take the 5 here. I went to Boston College. You know that. This is a rivalry. Notre Dame and Boston College is a big-time rivalry. Boston College swept Notre Dame last year. That is the first time and the only time that Notre Dame has been swept in this matchup since joining the ACC, I think, in 2014. BC gets up for this game. Notre Dame gets up for this game. This fits all the parameters that we've talked about before. First off, it's a rivalry. You're giving me points at home. Secondly, it's Notre Dame, who played very well at home against Duke, who beat Virginia at home by 22 because they can shoot the lights out. They just played away last Monday at Boston College and lost by 4. So again, now we're coming home, rivalry in the conference, second time they're seeing each other. They're going to want this game badly. They're going to pack it here. They're going to get fired up for this game. The backcourt is deadly. I don't trust BC. They're going the wrong direction. BC has lost 5 of their last 7. BC has lost 4 of their last 5. BC lost at home to North Carolina by 10, didn't cover. They went away to Virginia Tech. They lost that game as well. Syracuse away, they lost. Clemson away, they gave up 89. Notre Dame, rivalry game. I'm taking the points. I've been here before. If Notre Dame had won the first game and this game was at Boston College, I'd be taking Boston College. But I've seen this too many times. Say what you want. This is the apocalypse in Providence. This is the Ed Cooley coming back. We know all this stuff. they're going to be ready to rock and roll. Georgetown is going the wrong direction. If Georgetown was actually going to get fired up here and back Ed Cooley, they wouldn't have gotten their doors blown off in the last game. They have struggled. They have not been great on the road this year. They got blitzed at home by Butler, 90-66. You want to say that's a look-ahead spot? Really? They lost their last 4, home to Seton Hall, away at Connecticut, away at Xavier, a game that they came back, but they gagged at the end. They were up big. Now Providence. Providence is going to be rocking tonight. The old Dunk, which is AMC now, will be ready. They think that Cooley's Benedict Arnold. They think they left him. The kids are going to be ready to go. Providence needs this game badly because they have struggled, but they've gotten wins against DePaul and Seton Hall. Those are 2 subpar teams, but they want to make the tournament. Even though they lost Hopkins, they got to get this game. They got Connecticut, Villanova, Creighton coming up. This is a big one. You got to get this one, and I think they're going to get it, so I'm going to lay the points here. This one's up in the air. Yes, I'm picking Keith Ergo because I'm an idiot is what I'm doing here. I think this matchup, I was looking in our chat this morning. I think what we're talking about with Duquesne is that Day Grant should be back in this matchup. I just still think it's a lot of points. I know Duquesne lost 5 in a row, and they just beat St. Bonaventure at home, who turned around easy pick yesterday against St. Joe's, -2.5. This one, Fordham can really shoot the threes well. They've burned me a couple times. Duquesne, I'm not great with Duquesne picks. You know that. The people in the Discord know that. A lot of points. And even if Grant comes back and he's ready to go today, is he going to be 100%? And what, you're going to push this line up to 10 on me? Duquesne this year, St. Bonaventure by 4, loss. Santa Clara on a neutral, lost by 8. Bradley on a neutral, won by 10. Still, Duquesne, probably your best win the whole year, although Bradley wasn't full strength there. St. Peter's home only won by 9. When are they winning by 10? When is Duquesne winning by 10? It's 8.5. It could get higher. I'm going in that direction. Classic sleepy spot here for South Carolina. I've been really impressed with South Carolina. I put this on X. Lamont Paris should be the coach of the year. No problem with that. South Carolina beat Arkansas, beat Kentucky, have Tennessee away on Tuesday. This is the classic sandwich spot, isn't it? And this line was 8.5. It's now dropped to 6.5. They played away, South Carolina, at Missouri, and they won by 2. So, again, this is the second time these teams are playing each other. Almost lost at Missouri. Missouri has been playing hard, but they just struggle to make shots. They're still playing tough, though. They've lost 6 straight games. So, on the surface, a Missouri team that under Dennis Gates has lost 6 straight games. They are 0-6 in the SEC. They just lost at home to South Carolina. Now going on the road, seems like a South Carolina slam spot. Doesn't feel right. Missouri plus 6.5. And teams actually are shooting 79.1% from the free throw line against Missouri. That is the absolute best an opponent is shooting from the free throw line in the SEC. Give me a little regression here. Love South Carolina. Love Lamont Paris. You beat Arkansas away by 13. You beat Kentucky at home by 17. You got Tennessee on the horizon. At some point, you're going to have a clunker, and it just seems like the perfect sandwich spot here. That's all. Look, there is no better coach in college basketball than Bill Self. He's the best. But this hasn't been a great place for him historically, this matchup. You look at the history between these teams. He lost by 15 last year at Iowa State, had a much better team than he has right now. They won at home to Iowa State last year by 2. He lost by 17 at Iowa State in 2019. He lost by 13 at Iowa State in 2016. He lost by 5 at Iowa State in 20. This is not an easy spot here. The only time these two teams meet this year is today. And I don't trust Kansas's defense. And I'm sorry, I'm going to duck on this one. I don't trust Hunter Dickinson. Hunter Dickinson has stopped grabbing rebounds. He's floating out to the perimeter. He's getting a ton of rebounds early. He looked great early this year against Tennessee. He scored 19 against West Virginia, but no Jesse Edwards. Congratulations. He had 12 at UCF. Horrific. There is a knee injury that I think is lingering with Hunter Dickinson. He looked bad with foul trouble against Cincinnati last time. He scored 10 points in that matchup. They almost lost. I don't think he's a first-team All-American, and people are pushing him. I don't see it. Kansas is not deep. They only play 6 guys. Nick Timberlake was supposed to be the shooting guard to come over to Kansas. Hasn't been that guy. Very up and down. Sometimes he plays 2 or 3 minutes. He should have went back to Towson. That's what he should have done. Self is kicking himself that he couldn't get Cam Spencer because Cam Spencer was the type of player that was available that he really should have got because this team would be loaded then. Lipsy is back. He was injured. He came back. I am taking Iowa State and laying the points here. I get it. Bill Self on the road getting points. You want to go there? That's fine. This is a tough place to play. This team is good. Osselberger's a great coach. I think Kansas is in trouble. I don't think they have it this year. They'll still be great. They'll still have a great record. They'll still probably make a Sweet 16, maybe an Elite 8. They're not going to the Final Four. Don't buy it. I like the over in this matchup only because New Mexico State is very helter-skelter. We got the New Mexico State in the last game when we had them. We got the over. I think it was 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago, New Mexico State got the over because their defense just facilitates people to get easy layups. It was Sam Houston State. They allowed 79 points there. They're playing Louisiana Tech, who doesn't play particularly fast, but Louisiana Tech is home. When Louisiana Tech is home, they're going to score a little bit more than they do when they're on the road. They shoot 40% from three-point range, Louisiana Tech. They're great on the offensive boards. They're going to get fouled. I kind of like Louisiana Tech to win this game. I do. They're 4-1. They're doing very well in Conference USA. I also like the over. Villanova is a sinking ship. Don't like Villanova. Kyle Neptune is in serious trouble in his job, 100%. And I think everybody knows it. You saw the picture on X with the athletic director sitting behind him while they got smoked at St. John's. It's just something's missing. Jay Wright makes a difference. Coaches matter. Great coaches do make a difference. Nothing against Kyle Neptune. He was fine at Fordham. I just don't think this is the right mix. Lost to St. John's at home by 10. DePaul, they beat them at home. Congratulations. That's your big win in January, DePaul. Marquette away, lost by 13, gave up 87 points. UConn at home, lost by 1. Competed well, but UConn was up most of that game. Villanova made a push late, but UConn was up early. And St. John's in the revenge spot. And as I told you, it's very hard to sweep teams. Wisconsin just did it at Michigan State, which was really impressive last night. You know, Wisconsin had not covered a 2-point spread in like 8 years at home against Michigan State. But Wisconsin, with A.J. Storr, is the real deal. And they're a Final Four contender. Don't forget it. Villanova's not great at Butler. Butler is really well coached. Villanova on the road. I know they make free throws. I don't care. I'm taking Butler. I don't like Villanova whatsoever. I got some comments. I'll get to them in a minute. I'm sorry. This one is tricky because Stony Brook plays well at home. But this, to me, is UNC Wilmington is just the better team. And we got to the window and had a nice one in the one game against Northeastern. But UNC Wilmington in the CAA wants to win this conference. And they are 2 games. They're 1 game behind Drexel. They cannot afford a slip up. Now, the only thing that's making me nervous is UNC Wilmington plays Charleston on Thursday. That's a biggie. They beat Charleston at home by 9 in the payback spot. Now they're going on the road. That's a big game. They're just better than Stony Brook. Stony Brook is good and they compete and they get up and down the floor, but their offense isn't fantastic. UNC Wilmington is the better team. I will tell you if this got to 5.5, I'm staying away because that magic number. But Stony Brook here in conference, only 29% from three-point range. Not great with the defensive metrics. They just beat Monmouth at home, so they had to win. So I don't know if this is the desperation spot. They lost at Hofstra, didn't cover. They lost away at Delaware. They lost away at Towson. They gave up 93 to Charleston. They won away at William & Mary by 4. The Stony Brook team isn't at the normal level that it is, and they're tough at home. I get it, but I'm going to lay it in this spot as well. Saw this from Josh Applebaum from Beeson put this out, and it's true. Unranked teams at home, favored against ranked teams have been scalding hot the last 2 years. I think the money line is like 60%, something like that. I can pull it up. I'll find it on X when the show's over. Unranked teams at home favored against ranked teams, and that's what we have with Boise State here against Utah State. Utah State, a really good team also. Only issue with Utah State is they really aren't great from three-point range. They operate inside the interior. You know, Boise State's defense with Leon Rice is great. They're favored by 3. Certainly you're going to want to take Utah State. Utah State hasn't played in 7 days also. Their last one was home against Fresno. Boise State, big matchup here in the Mountain West with Utah State. Utah State is 5-1. Boise State is 5-1. Boise State wins this game. They are all alone in first place in the Mountain West. And Leon Rice, probably one of the most underrated coaches that we have in college basketball. So I'm going with that as well. Last one, then I'll get to some questions. Colgate stinks. We got burned with Colgate last time. You know the deal. Keegan Records is a shell of his former self. The big man inside has not played well. They are just not covering. Colgate is not covering. Bucknell away, they won by 11. Army and home, they win by 8. BU home, they won by 16. Pulled away a little bit there. Lehigh, close game with Lehigh, won by 3. Their three-point shooting is not where it normally is. They are only shooting 34.8% this year from three-point range. Their defense is not great. Colgate is also not making free throws, shooting 68% this year. American type of team that can shoot threes, that's explosive at home. They've done well at home. They blitzed Army by 19. They did beat the Lehigh team, who was just really close with Colgate by 19. They play well. A lot of their games have been on the road. They now have a series of games home. 3 of the next 4 games are going to be home. I just don't like Colgate here. I don't trust Colgate. I've watched them. They turn it over. They can't create off the dribble. Records inside doesn't really do much. It's just not a vintage Colgate team. Let's get to your questions here really quick. A ton of people jumping in. I appreciate it. Let's go here. Perky raising the roof. You were right last night, Perky. I give you credit. You were right. Wisconsin covered. I was wrong about Michigan State. I didn't make it an official play. I was leaning Michigan State, but I got nervous at the end. Good call with that one there. Joey, love you, buddy. Cheers, my friend. Can't wait to the expo. I'm going to get you a martini when we're outside the stadium there. We're going to have a drink together. There's a martini. Texas A&M, we'll get to that, Preston. Don't worry. Duquesne or Fordham, 2 more. Yeah, it's Colby. It's terrible. It's not. It's probably a half unit play today with Duquesne, but it's not a great play. I hate Fordham. I hate Duquesne. It's just not a great one. Yeah, Oregon. Yes, I get it. But I also think Arizona State with Hurley is just not my play. Also, Joey, the Houston numbers are high and I fade them and I question why. Yeah, the issue, Joey, is that you can't replicate what Houston brings on defense. That's the issue. They're relentless. Now, Kansas State the issue today is that that's a high number. I get it. But look at what Houston has done. They played Texas Tech, who's also really good. They beat them by 23. They played UCF. They were up the whole game by like 20, and then they got backdoor covered. BYU, they won on the road by 7. You can't replicate what they do. That's the problem. And I like Jerome Tang. He was great last year. I just think whenever you take over a program like Jerome Tang did, and you're in your second year, it's kind of an adjustment period. So it is a big number. I get why you're nervous, and maybe you don't go there, but it is very hard to replicate what Houston does. It just overwhelms you, and it disrupts your offense. Perky says, no way, Virginia. It's fair. It's fair. I'm not okay. It's not going against you. Yeah, Virginia. Listen, Louisville. It may not feel good, Perky. I understand that. Al's in the house. Appreciate to have you back, Al. Mike is in the house also. Yeah, CED, Cooley's getting heckled. This is an apocalypse game. I mean, they are beyond fired up. And the same reason that Cooley succeeded at Providence, with a lot of crowd support. He's a great coach, but they had a lot of crowd support. They are going to make life miserable. And this is a terrible Georgetown team. They're terrible on metrics. So today, rough spot. You want me to take Georgetown and hope they lose by 10? Just not the way I'm going to do this. Mizzou outright. Interesting, Trevor. I think you were right last time, too. I just think it's a sleepy spot. Sleepy spot here. Okay. That's it. Oh, we're coming back. Corey. We're on the same spot, Corey. I'm with you. We'll get to that in a minute. All right, let's keep going here, guys. I want to get through the games, get you out of here. Oakland is good. Milwaukee is not. Milwaukee is one of these small school teams that I have targeted all year. They're not good. They're not consistent. I know BJ Freeman, but I do not trust Milwaukee, particularly their defense. Milwaukee is allowing opponents to shoot 38.8% from three-point range in the horizon. They won at home over Detroit Mercy. Detroit Mercy is going to win a game with Jaden Stone at some point. They're now playing Oakland. Milwaukee lose away 100-95. So this is one of the few times I'm going against that. The problem is Oakland is coming off a loss to Green Bay. So Oakland was scalding hot. They lost 2 of their first 3 in the horizon. Then they beat Youngstown State. They did beat Milwaukee. They beat Green Bay. They beat Northern Kentucky. They beat Uipui. They beat Youngstown State. 7-2. So Greg Kampe in his 65 millionth year at Oakland has it going again. Now they're playing Milwaukee a second time. I get the revenge spot, but there are some teams who are good enough, who are well coached enough to get the sweep, i.e. Greg Gard with Wisconsin. So I'm going with Oakland here, laying the small number at Milwaukee, even though it's a revenge spot. Virginia Tech is hot. Georgia Tech is struggling. I think that with Georgia Tech, as much as they have talent and they have players that can score, I think this is an adjustment period for Damon Stoudemire, first year here in the ACC. Georgia Tech has lost 7 of their last 8 games. They are really struggling. They lost at home to Pittsburgh. That's not a great loss. They lost at home to Virginia. They lost Duke. They lost home to Notre Dame. Notre Dame at home? Oh, Boston College, they lost at home, and they gave up 95 points to Boston College. They don't really have an identity. Georgia Tech doesn't have an identity, and Virginia Tech, under Mike Young, is one of these teams that was underachieving but has a great coach and is starting to get acclimated. NC State away, big win by Virginia Tech. Boston College home, took care of business. Now they're playing Georgia Tech. You want to say Duke coming to town, it's a sleepy spot, that's fine. Damon Stoudemire and Georgia Tech, who are not great from the free throw line, is not the team that I'm going with here. Anthony Latina. Listen to me, Anthony Latina and Sacred Heart. You guys were the preseason favorites in the NEC. You were the preseason favorites in the Northeast Conference. You are a disappointing 4-2. You just lost away, thank you for that one, to St. Francis. If you can't get Fairleigh Dickinson today, enough with Anthony Latina and the Northeast Conference. Anthony Latina has been at Sacred Heart 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 years. The last 3 years, 10-20, 16-16, 10-11 overall. That's including this year. The records, the last 3 years prior to this one within the NEC with Sacred Heart, 9-7, 6-10, 8-8. You have the best team that you've had maybe since 2020, and that's the only time you guys were good. If you are going to make a serious run at the NEC, you're 4-2, you're 1 game behind Central Connecticut. You cannot lose this game to FDU. I don't want to hear you beaten here complaining if you lose to FDU. You haven't played them this year. This isn't a revenge spot. FDU is coming off a loss at home to Central Connecticut. Fairleigh Dickinson's wins this year in the NEC. Stonehill at home in overtime. What? St. Francis away? Stonehill again? You got to get this one. Sacred Heart should have the best player on the floor in Nico Gillette. I don't want to hear it. Sacred Heart, Anthony Latina, get it done today. It's a very small spread. Enough of this nonsense. I love Xander Rice. I love King Rice. Love what they do. Hofstra's good. You heard Pitino say it about Hofstra. They're one of the best coach teams that you see among the small schools. They're very talented. They have players that can score. I don't think it's enough. I think it's a good battle today in Monmouth, and Monmouth has been very good at home. I think they get the job done here. They have not played Monmouth this year. This isn't a revenge spot. They have Tyler Thomas, who is one of the elite scorers in the country. Tyler Thomas did well against Duke when they played earlier this year. They've played they played Iona away and won. They played Duke. They played UNLV away. They played St. John's away. Charleston they battled. They've played some really good teams. Speedy Claxton, one of the most underrated coaches, great coach. Hofstra is too talented. I like Monmouth. I like King Rice. I don't like him here. I think Hofstra's better. Big matchup. Monmouth is usually a covering machine. They're only 10-10. They're only 3-4. Hofstra's better. And the only player really, the majority of scoring does come from Xander Rice. And I don't like that matchup against Speedy Claxton and Hofstra. That's why I'm going there. Something's wrong with Oklahoma. Porter Mosier is now being rumored to maybe leave. They talked about him possibly going back to the Chicago area because the job in DePaul. Something's wrong with Oklahoma. They started really well. They were 10-0. They did beat Arkansas on a neutral, but now looking back on that, was that really that great of a win? They've played some good. They beat Iowa State at home, which was a nice win, but TCU away lost. Kansas away lost. West Virginia home, they beat. Congratulations. Cincinnati, this is a good Texas Tech team. Grant McCaslin does a great job. They have the issues that I'm concerned about off the court, with some issues going on off the court with players, but they have Joe Toussaint, Darian Williams, Warren Washington, well coached. They just beat BYU at home by 7. They played Kansas State. They beat them at home. They played Oak State. They hung 90. They're a well-coached team. They're shooting well from three-point range. You know the defense under McCaslin is going to be great. The next game up is TCU. Something's wrong with Oklahoma. And the idea that Oklahoma in this matchup against a really well-coached team that's shooting threes well, Pop Isaac, some of these players who are very explosive, don't see it. Don't like it. taking Texas Tech plus 3.5. I think it's 4.5 now, actually. Texas, you listen to me, Texas. You don't have the guts to win this game at BYU. Mark Pope has done a fantastic job. I was dead wrong about Mark Pope in this year coming in to the Big 12. They've lost 2 straight games, BYU. They've played a tough schedule. Cincinnati home, Cincinnati's really good, lost that one. Baylor away, tough game, lost that one. UCF away, not easy, Kansas, won that one. Iowa State home, blitzed them, 87-72. Good Iowa State team. And they were winning before the player got kicked out of the game. Texas Tech away, good battle, lost it. Houston home, really good battle, pulled away at the end. They're coming today. It is a horrific place to play in Provo. The fans are great. Texas has won their last 2 games. You show me Dylan DeSue. You show me Max Asmus. You show me in this matchup. And folks, who does Texas have coming up on Monday? Any guesses? If you could pick one team that Texas is going to face at home on Monday in the Big 12, who's it going to be? Kansas? Wrong. Houston. Houston on Monday. Sleepy spot. You got Oklahoma. You got Baylor. Great job. You also lost at West Virginia by 3. BYU -7. And everyone's going to be on Texas. I get it. Towson's really hot, but Delaware's tough at home. Towson has been really hot lately and has played exceptionally well. Towson, Pat Skerry, great job. Beat Wilmington home. Beat Stony Brook home in overtime. Beat Charleston. Beat Campbell. Beat Drexel. Great job. I'm taking Delaware. They're still shooting, Towson, 45% from inside the arc. They're still shooting 62% from the free throw line. And that's a problem because in CAA play, they are the worst team in the Coastal Athletic Association CAA conference from the free throw line, 62%. Delaware is explosive at home. They're very up and down, but Martin Zinglesby does a good job. I'm taking Delaware at home. It's very tough to win on the road. Towson's been super hot. Just don't like it. Couple left here, guys, really quick. Chattanooga, the threes, they can shoot you in, they can shoot you out. Citadel can also score also. I'm not taking Chattanooga to cover 9.5 points. Citadel can keep this game close. It's a lot of points. Citadel's coming off a nice win at home over Mercer. They have not played Chattanooga yet, but Chattanooga relies on the 3. When they're super hot, they can beat Furman. They can hang 109 on VMI, but they've beaten Mercer, East Tennessee State Wofford. They played very well. They have Western Carolina on the road, very similar to South Carolina. This, to me, is a sleepy spot for Chattanooga, the team that right now is 3rd in the country generating their points from beyond the arc. Citadel knows that. Citadel likes to shoot it as well. Too many points going with them here. Enough with Princeton. People are talking about Princeton getting an at-large bid. Guys, enough. I like Princeton. I love the Ivy. My buddy Dr. Tony and Gus Kearns, who we had on the podcast here, they want him to get an independent. Guys, who have they beaten? Who have they played out of conference? They just played Columbia away. That was a close game. Cornell is very good. Princeton is 3-0 in the Ivy. Cornell is 3-0 in the Ivy. Yale's 3-0 in the Ivy. To me, this is a very simple matchup. Cornell wins at home. Princeton wins at home. On the road, Cornell, they've played some really good teams, Cornell. They've played tough. They played Fordham away. They got that win. Monmouth at home, they won. They hung 91 on them. They battled Syracuse away, lost that game, but they were competing well. They played Baylor away, Cornell. They've played some difficult teams and have done very well. I like this team. They're number 1 in the nation at scoring inside the arc. 2-point percentage inside the arc, 61%. I am taking them +2 in this matchup. Guess who's back? Back again. Miami's back. Tell a friend. The Hurricanes are back. You want to talk about regression? How about Jimmy Larinaga, one of the best coaches in college basketball? How about a Miami team that has battled all year with injuries? They have the majority of their team back. We love this Miami team. This is a preseason team. People were talking about making a return trip to the Final Four. Here's the problem. You look at their schedule, they've lost 4 or 6. Why is that? Wake Forest away overtime. No Poplar. Went at Wake Forest and went to overtime. Really impressive. Louisville lost. Horrific loss. Everybody has them. Terrible loss. Virginia Tech away. Win. Tough place to play. Good win. Florida State home. Lost 84-75. Rivalry game. Syracuse lost at the buzzer on the 3, but no Norchard Omier. When Omeer's not playing, that's a huge loss for them. Omier is back. They look healthy. This is the time to buy Miami. Enough with Pittsburgh. Congratulations, Pittsburgh. You're jumping on the table. You won at Duke. No Roach in that game, no Mitchell. So it's not a vintage Duke team. It's not a vintage Duke team either way, by the way. No offense. You wanted Georgia Tech. That's great. Miami, now is the time to buy. They are 4-4. They have most of their team back. They shoot the three well. They defend the three well. They have Pittsburgh, NC State, Virginia Tech, Virginia before the game against North Carolina. I believe in regression. I believe in Larinaga. I believe in Poplar. I believe in O'Meara. I believe in Pack. I believe in this team. You saw them last year. They're too good to keep playing poorly. It starts today. Missouri State with a massive win over Drake. So what do? We fade them next day against Valpo. The thing I like about Valpo is they're finally getting it together. Valparaiso came into this year. A lot of moving parts. If you look at Valparaiso, they were last in D1 experience, 356 in the nation per KenPom in D1 experience. Didn't have a lot. They also only had 12 minutes of minutes continuity from last year. So new players, a lot of changing parts. So it took them a while. So yes, Valparaiso is 6-14. Yes, they're 2-7. However, last 4 games, Illinois State away, they win. Evansville away, only lose by 3. Illinois, Chicago, who's going the wrong way, won by 7. And Southern Illinois, tough loss. Xavier Johnson only lost by 6. They're playing very well. And now Missouri State, who had struggled all year, had the big one, 2 overtimes against Drake. No problem. We'll fade them next time. Magic 5.5 with East Tennessee State against Samford. Conference game, favorite on the road, 5.5, automatic play, like East Tennessee State. Samford, again, high-scoring team, but they're not great on defense. They can turn you over. And again, I'm still hurt from the Achor massive game, 35 points against Western Carolina, which cost us that one. This game came up before. I totally agree. Western Carolina doesn't make threes. They don't make threes. And if you don't make threes, I don't see how you can cover 20 points. If you're not a team that makes threes, I don't see how you can cover the 20 points. So as much as VMI is not great, they competed well against East Tennessee State. They beat the Citadel. They lost to Furman by 40. I get it, and they gave up 100, but the problem is Furman can score from deep. Western Carolina can't. Western Carolina, I love Vontarius Wilbright. He's an amazing player. I love watching this team. They are shooting 45% from inside the arc. They are shooting 69% of the free throw line, and they don't make free throws, and they don't force turnovers. That's a lot. Even at home, that's a lot against VMI. I'm taking them. Say it with me. Scott Cross covers. Revenge spot. Lost this game at South Alabama. Now they're home. Troy is a great offensive rebounding team. Not good for South Alabama. Troy is a great three-point shooting team. Not good for South Alabama. Troy forces a lot of turnovers. Not good for South Alabama. And Troy is home, and it's a revenge spot. Scott Cross covers. Troy right now, where are they right now? They lost a couple. I get that. But I think, if I'm right, where are they right now? Looking it up. Troy is still 4th best in the nation against the spread. 12-4-1. Even though they lost 2. And when you sit there and you talk about as a home team, Troy, 3rd best in the nation, 8-0-1. Haven't lost against the spread at home. We're rolling with it here. Arizona's a fraud. I told you they're a fraud. In the end, they always end up going to Caleb Love. That Oregon State loss is horrific. They were up like 21-5. Rolling, but they give it back. They don't have an identity. They don't have a go-to player. Very nebulous. Boswell, does he score? Does he not? In the end, the Arizona game against Florida Atlantic was very revealing because Florida Atlantic doesn't play defense. Oregon, plus 3.5. It's too many points for Bradley. I love Indiana State at home. I put out the GIF with the Hulk. You know that? It's too many points. This is an apocalyptic matchup today in the Missouri Valley. They started 0-2 Bradley to start the year, and they lost to Indiana State 85-77 home. Now they're going on the road. They're 7-2. They have won 9 straight games. They have won 7 straight games in the Missouri Valley. I guess it's Indiana State. I get that. They're 8-1. It's too many points. It is too many points. I'm taking Bradley. This is a fantastic matchup. I can't wait to watch this game. Huge matchup. Connor Hickman's back. He's played great for them. Huge. I'm taking the points. Love Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa has been scalding hot lately. Really well coached. Again, another team that struggled early on under a phenomenal coach in Ben Jacobson. Now they're playing well. You concerned that Drake is coming off a loss. I get that. I just still think Drake's a little overvalued. And look back at these matchups. Northern Iowa, Drake, they're always very close. Northern Iowa, Drake, for those who don't know, is in Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa. Interstate battle. Love it. Drake is great on offense. They're only shooting 6-6 from the free throw line. Northern Iowa, if you look at their metrics, have struggled, but they're great on the defensive boards. They've been scalding hot. They've had 5 straight wins. They've won 6 of 7. The only loss at home was to Indiana State. We know how tough they are. They're playing better. They've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of their last 10 games. They started 3-7. This is a good team under Ben Jacobson. I like them. I like them to cover, and look back at the games. They've always ended up keeping these games close. JMU plus 1.5 against App State. It's a payback spot. They lost at home to App State. I get that, but this is the flip spot. Now you're not going to get cocky JMU. You're going to get focused JMU because they're going to want this win. They'll be ready to go. I'll take them as the underdog. Kentucky minus 6.5. I don't like Arkansas. Kentucky's going to need this game. They can't mess around because they struggled as well recently. They lost a game to South Carolina. They lost to Texas A&M their last 2 road games. Cal will have them ready for this game. I also like the under 164 because I think both teams' defense is going to lock down. Arkansas can't score. They'll probably keep the game close for a while, which means it has to be low scoring. Ohio State here in a spot against Northwestern. As much as Northwestern is Ryan high, this is an odd matchup. Ohio State on the road. And Northwestern, of course, with a big comeback against Illinois the other day, which they almost lost. So in this matchup here, Northwestern, a little up and down, a little inconsistent. Northwestern has Purdue away coming up, so that's going to be a huge matchup for them. And this is a spot where no one's going to take Ohio State. Ohio State, again, is in the mix in the middle of the Big Ten. I like them here in this spot. They should keep this game close, especially coming off the loss. I think that's, Mississippi at some point is going to play well on the road. Chris Beard is too good a coach to have them go through the entire season not playing well. The perfect spot to have them do that here would be against Texas A&M, who's not great on offense. They have lost away at Tennessee by 26. They lost away at LSU by 9. They lost away at Auburn by 22. At some point, they're going to play well on the road, and I think it starts today against Texas A&M. Texas A&M has Florida coming up. Texas A&M is coming off 2 wins against LSU and Missouri, but didn't look great in either one of those. I'm going to take Mississippi here because they're not going to be terrible on the road all year. At some point, and in a rock fight, a defensive matchup, this could be the spot. And I'm going to fade Stan Johnson here with St. Mary's. Don't like LMU. They really struggled the other night. They pulled away in the second half. I give them credit for that against Portland. But St. Mary's is undefeated. They're 6-0. They don't have Gonzaga for 2 more games, so they have Santa Clara. They're home here. They're home against Loyola Marymount. They're not going to let teams shoot the 3. They're going to defend it well. So I'm going here with St. Mary's minus 15.5. Couple questions, and we will get out of here. No read on San Diego, UC Davis. No read for that. The best plays for today, I like Miami, I'll tell you that. Tough. I did this last time, Poe, and I ended up giving 2. I hate picking the one. I gave you all the games. I hate picking the ones I like the best. Perfect spot for Miami. I agree, Chris. Absolutely. Are you on Samford? I didn't catch it. No, I'm against Samford there because they're laying the points, and that is you're getting points with Sacred Heart. I mean, listen, Preston, they don't win this game. I don't want to hear about Anthony Latine anymore. Chris, I love BJ Freeman. I do, but I just don't trust Milwaukee. That's really what it comes down to. Dub City, we appreciate you as well. Guys, I am out of here. As always, join us here at FTN. Please come aboard. We got great stuff coming from March Madness. I can't wait. Like, subscribe. We appreciate it. As always, folks, it is an honor to be here with you. Coffee on Saturday morning. I'd rather be nowhere else than right here, right now. Thank you so much. Big bets today. And as always, in a huge slate, biggest one of the year, Scott Cross covers. Let's get to the window.